Hey everybody, how are you? I hope you all guys are inside your homes, not venturing out, not going to any crowded places. And so we're gonna be talking about something that is how the way we work has been changed by the coronavirus outbreak. So the COVID-19, the pandemic, even when we get it under control, I think it would leave us in a situation where we would have a very different concept of how we work. So today's video, what we're going to do is we will be discussing the working from home culture, which although does exist already in some companies where you could work from home for a few days, but nowadays everybody is working from home every day. So what are the best practices for working from home, and how you can increase your productivity while doing that. Next thing we're going to be talking about is remote work. Again, it's something that of late has been, a trend which is catching up. Last few years, there have been a lot of companies which have been, completely working remotely. There are a lot of companies who have a part of their workforce working remotely, while rest of the people actually work in an office. But there are a lot of remote workers. And how do you look for remote work? Do you Are you the kind of person who would actually love to work remotely or not? We'll discuss that. And finally, we're going to be discussing a little bit about freelancing as well. So we don't know what kind of an economy the coronavirus pandemic would leave us with. And many of us might be needing to look for some freelancing gigs. So how do build your profile for landing good freelancing gigs? Where do you look for freelancing offers, and some tips about that. So we'll discuss all of this. And in the next segment of this video, we also have an interview with Naman. So Naman had been a student as well as a teaching assistant of mine at Coding Blocks a long time back. Now he works remotely at Product Hunt. A lot of you might know the company Product Hunt. It's part of the Angel List group of companies. So it's a great company to work at, and he works remotely for there. He stays in Delhi itself, and we have an interview with him. He will be talking to you a little bit about his experiences. How he got his job at Product Hunt, and what's his experience working remotely there, and other things that he wants to share with us. Okay, so the first thing is about working from home. And I think this is something that a lot of you people might have not worked from home ever before, and now you're being forced to work from home because of the situation. And you might be facing a bit of troubles working at home. And even at Coding Blocks, although we had working from home allowed for a few days every week for many team members, right, from our dev team, our designers, marketing people who don't need to stay in office and do their work. They used to work from home for some times, but not every day. Nowadays we all are working from home every day, and of course we are adapting to the changes in that. And I think most companies as well. I till a few weeks back, I was also working at Zomato, and Zomato is a company where everybody works in their office. There isn't really a lot of remote and working from home culture there, but now that everybody there is also working from home, so the kind of difficulties you face, and what are some tips and tricks and best practices. So I think very important is that you set and keep regular working hours, right? Don't bend the clock while working from home. Don't work till late. Don't actually work till late at till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. at night or something like that. Have proper office hours, just like you'd really work in the office, because you might face difficulties adapting back to work when this pandemic ends as well. The next very important thing I feel is dress like work. So get up, take a bath, get ready, wear clothes like you usually wear when you would be working at office. Okay, that's kind of very important, because if you're wearing like home clothes, you're staying on your bed, it does not feel productive enough. The work does not get done. You feel like watching a bit of Netflix, right? Keep a separate work area, keep a table, keep a chair, make yourself comfortable. Probably have a monitor to work with. If you are like a developer and you prefer having a monitor at your office, you should have one at home as well. No, it should feel like an office space. That's pretty important. Scheduling is also extremely important. So schedule your lunch breaks, your chai breaks, your coffee breaks, right? And put them up on your calendar so that people who are setting up meetings with you also know about them. That's pretty important. And the most important thing, although the last point here was communication is really, really important. And this is for especially if you are leading a team, you're running a company, then you need to get your communication across the company all in order as well, like, right? You need to have something like Slack or Microsoft Teams, where people just should always find each other online during the work hours, so you can communicate. You have some issue at work, you can immediately ping someone and ask them. It's just that people are not sitting beside each other, but they should be equally available. All of that stuff, the updates every day should go out. So when you're sitting in an office, somebody can just walk by you and they can ask hey, did you get that job done that we were supposed to do yesterday? And you're like, yeah, I got that done. But when you're working remotely, it's important that you keep your updates. You send your updates to your other team members, to your managers. You keep them updated, communicate, in fact over communicate more than you usually do, because and documenting things, that's all very important. So that's about working from home and about increasing productivity. I think there's also a very nice guide that Investopedia just put out, the ultimate working from home guide. They also updated it, in fact, recently in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. And it has quite a few good points around setting up workspaces, getting good internet speed, using phone apps, plan social interactions and all that stuff, right? How to take care of health and education and everything. So it's a good article. Definitely take a look at that. Okay. The next thing talking about is remote work. Okay. And a lot of people find it pretty interesting, the entire idea of remote work. They think like, you don't have to go to office. That's interesting. But think it through whether you're really ready for remote work. And we'd have a conversation with Naman very soon. I'm just gonna call him into this video, and he can tell you a little more about how he works remotely. And look up, read out about websites where a lot of job descriptions on companies which have remote work. They mention how remote work happens. Do you need to stay up during particular hours or not? And can you actually be productive when you're working remotely? So find out if you really want to work remotely at places. So looking for opportunities is also very important. Like, why do you go and look for opportunities for remote work? So there are a lot of places you can look for remote work. Your general job hunt websites, of course, have a remote filter usually, and you can search for remote. There's this website called remoteok.io, I think. Remote OK, pretty good website. And you can search for, like, let's say I want to search for Vue.js jobs, and you can search for Vue.js. You'll find Vue.js remote jobs out different places, and then you can find remote jobs. You just search for remote jobs, and you would find that there are some other boards as well. So there is remote.co as well, and there is weworkremotely.com. So these three all are pretty kind of well-known job boards for remote work. You can find out filter based on and also when you look for remote work, I think a lot of companies might ask you to be remote but within Europe, or remote within America, remote within India, kind of like that, because of the way they pay their salaries, how they structure their tax, and also what kind of time zone they need you to be in. So remote does not mean you can apply to any and every remote job, but you have to find it. And we will discuss this more when we talk with Naman, how his experience was finding remote jobs, right? Yeah. Then and finally, talking about freelancing. So freelancing is also something a lot of people have, in fact, posted comments on a lot of coding blogs, website, YouTube videos, like can you do a video on how to how a freelancer should create their profile. So freelancing is also going to increase over the time. There's this concept of digital nomads, right? So people who work as freelancers, and they keep traveling to different places, and while that might look like a very lucrative lifestyle, um, freelancing is also tough and takes a lot of work to create a good personal portfolio so that you can start getting good gigs. And it does not come with the safety net of health insurance and a regular paycheck and all of that. So it's a different kind of lifestyle. But yeah, if you want to be freelancing, or like you want to pick up some freelance offers parallelly with your day job, which of course check with your employer if you're allowed to. And then I think I'd love to share a couple of portfolios of some people whom I know who have who pick up freelancing projects a lot. This is Naman. It's a different Naman. It's a Naman Dwivedi, a junior of mine from college. And this is personal portfolio. As you can see, he has worked on the Prime Minister's Office's app and Grofers, and he has mentioned about his Google Summer of Code experience, some of his featured projects, a little bit of word about them, open source projects. They're out there. And it's all important that you keep your work up there. You can prove that you are a great person to pick up projects and work on them if you have a great remote portfolio up there, right? So then this is Siddharth, and Siddharth was earlier working at Auth0, and now he works at Code Sandbox. And I know him because we have talked at some JavaScript conferences together. And this is a very, very minimal and very tiny little website, but again, he has linked to some of the projects he has built, and some of these are very famous projects, and some talks he has given. This guy is Red Ruzak's pretty famous personal portfolio website. Again, you can look up these links. This guy is not a developer. He is, I think, a sales guy and tech recruiting guy, right? So if you create a personal freelancing portfolio, you should have like a portfolio of all your talks and presentations you might have given at small meetups or conferences you've ever gone to. For example, this is mine. I have all my presentations here, easy for people to visit. And then I have a playlist as well. So at conferences I go to, I usually keep a playlist. So I usually link that from my personal portfolio website of the conference talks that I've given. Have a good personal portfolio website. Having a personal website is very important when you're freelancing. Yeah, and then we're talking about freelancing websites. So there are a lot of them. So there are some of the smaller ones where you can get started with as a newbie. So there is Fiverr, and then there is Upwork. So here you get small scale freelancing projects, like a lot of logo designing and a lot of say translate this article, do a voiceover on this video, these kind of small projects where you can pick up tiny gigs like that. And this is more commoditized freelance. So as a freelancer, you can start with this so that you can set up a little bit of income stream coming your way. And similarly, like Upwork is there. So I think Fiverr and Upwork are pretty reverse in the ideology. And Fiverr, you can, as a freelancer, you can go there and you can find small tasks, and you can do that, and you can get like $5, $10 for that. Upwork is more on the other way around. You can create a little task as a developer. You can say that I can make a personal website for $10 and I will take 1 week. And somebody who wants to get their work done, they come and find you out. So Upwork is more where people who want freelancers come and find them, and Fiverr is where freelancers who want work go and find them. But both these places join small assignments with freelancers, and you can pick up gigs like that. Also, there's this website called Code Mentor X. So there's Code Mentor Arc, I think. So this is this website where you can get an account. You can apply as a developer, create an account, and you can get bigger freelancing projects like end to end, 1 month, 2 month kind of projects. Those you can get there, right? And oh, I think this is arc.dev. Okay, so there is Arc. Yeah, this was earlier. It was called Code Mentor X actually. Yeah, so you can apply as a developer there and create a portfolio, write some blog articles and all. I think very important is you write blog articles. You apply to conferences, give talks there, and create some beautiful open source projects which you can showcase in your freelancing profile. I think I don't want to talk anymore about things that I have to say. I would like to invite Naman on board, and we would have a chat with him discussing his experiences. Okay. Hey guys, so as promised, we have in this section Naman. So I know Naman for quite some time. He helped me in teaching a few web development batches too earlier, and now he's helping build few parts of coding blocks as online tools as well in his free time. So right now, Naman is working at Product Hunt. For how long?
It's been 7 months now.
Okay, it's been 7 months. Great, great. So this is a completely remote job, and I have heard like it's one of the better companies who have really nice remote working environment. And also, could you just give a rundown on how your work is like, what kind of projects you're working on, and how does remote working play out? What's your day like, and how does it go about?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with Product Hunt first of all. So I joined Product Hunt in September 2019. It's really an amazing place to work at. We are 22 people here, and Product Hunt is all remote company. So we are all in different time zones and different continents. So it's being pretty interesting for me to work here. I love the product. I love the platform. It is a platform where people launch products, and it wasn't my first remote job, but I definitely have learned a lot about how to work remotely and how to manage my time in these last 7 months. So starting with how I got to know about Product Hunt is about 2 3 years back, I read a book Hooked from Ryan Howard, and from that I got to know about Ryan Howard, and then I got to know about Product Hunt. And definitely I use Product Hunt, used to visit it daily, and I always wanted to contribute to Product Hunt, but definitely how do you get to know about the opportunities and such. So for most of the internships that I have done, or any other remote freelance projects also, I've got to know about them from my networks and from LinkedIn only, and a few from the Angel List, remote job platform also. So for Product Hunt, LinkedIn helped me. I directly went to talk to Rado, who is our CTO. I pinged him about I wanted to contribute to Product Hunt, and after 2 3 months, he told me that now there's an opening, and then the whole process started. So
Nice.
yes, I got to know about the opportunity from LinkedIn only. But as I said, it is not my first remote job. Earlier, I worked with hackers remotely also, and some other long-term freelance projects also. So yes, remote working is pretty comparing to the places I have worked on site. Remote working is really pretty easy and flexible to do, especially in these times when we are facing such a dangers out there. So yes,
Right.
remote working is a pretty different from your full-time on-site roles. If you are remote working somewhere, you have to have at least 5x more uh, workflows or things for yourself, because you cannot do something like, okay, I have to know this thing from this person. I cannot directly go to his desk and ask him, right? So
Correct.
I need to have process around how to schedule meetings, and how do I know this person is in this time zone and all that, how to manage my time and all that. So definitely, there are n number of things which we need to care about. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely much more challenging than simply like working from home, because like a lot of companies have a few days where you can work from home, and these days we are all working from home. And at least one thing that still is not a problem is that everybody's still in that same time zone. Like you were going to office together, but you're not working now. You're working home, so
Yeah.
everybody's at least in the same time zone. I think with you, that definitely is much a bigger challenge also. Like because you shouldn't be making a call to somebody when it's 3 a.m. at night at their place, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was your process? Like how did you apply, and how did your interview go? And like especially like even other than this, I think you might have for some internships or all also you have tried earlier, and you might have looked for other remote jobs as well. Generally, like people who are looking for remote jobs these days, like how do they go about doing that? I think the process would be a little different. So any light you can shed on that?
Yeah, so definitely there are some few basic constraints what people need from any of their employees, maybe remote or on site. But what things are like really required from a remote worker is that that person can work independently. Because if there are
Right.
any hard dependencies in your team and your team is like around the globe in different time zones, you cannot actually function properly. So you need all your employees to work independently so that they can take their decisions and they are responsible enough. And also, you should be able to work in teams, because contributing and expressing your thoughts and communication is a plays a really important role in remote working. So any company out there who is hiring remote workers, they definitely consider these two skills, which is like first of all teamwork, and if you can take responsibility and function independently.
Right.
Now about functioning independently, it's not just about the technical aspect, but the non-tech aspects also. If you can take some, maybe the designer is, if you are a software engineer, maybe the designer is not available, and you have to take some small design decisions also. Can you take
Right.
those? So all these things are considered. Yeah.
R- right. And I think communication is also pretty important. So, like for example, currently at your work, how do you communicate? Like whether it's mails or Slack, or like when you plan up meetings, how do you do that? Like a quick overview of how do you do that?
At Product Hunt, we use Slack only, and we do a lot of meetings via Zoom. So,
Right.
but again, at Product Hunt, we are like all independent. We don't have any hard dependency. We all communicate via Slack. We have different channels for each team, and on each Monday we have all hands where we share all our updates and everything. We don't have any daily sync ups or anything. We have weekly sync ups. So one is the all hands on Monday, and then per team we have weekly sync ups if required. Otherwise, if
Right.
you want to get to know about anything, we simply post it on Slack. So Slack is a tool which I use like every 10 or 5 minutes in my day. And due to Slack only, like I really don't feel if like I'm working remotely, because we guys stay in touch all the time, like 24/7. And like we
Right.
at Product, and we meet around thrice a year. So we have company retreats, and we usually meet after every 2 or 3 months. So that make us stay connected with each other.
Okay, nice. Also, I think before product and I think I have seen you like you have worked on pretty awesome freelance projects yourself as well, and I have done those myself back in the day, and I mentioned a little bit about my experience earlier in this video itself. But I'd just like to get some of your experiences for the viewers, as in how do you think, like I think young people who are like starting off in college, who are in first second year in college, and they're like looking forward to maybe like in college days itself, who want to pick up some freelancing gigs, how do they build up their portfolio, and how can they look for freelancing opportunities? If you want to show some projects or something of yourself, you can show them as well, or in general like tips about creating a good profile. What would you have a message for other people?
Yeah, well, if you are an undergraduate or just a fresher and you are just entering the industry and want to grow yourself as a freelance a full-time developer, so there are a lot of things. But the most important thing is like your initial projects matters a lot. And for the initial projects, don't care about the money, don't care about anything, but give your best. Because if there are two things: a remote job or a freelance work. Freelance work is different. A remote job is like a full-time job, just you are working remotely. But for a freelancer, you have some other different clients and you work for those clients. Maybe in team, maybe you are a team person only, but you work for them and they are not personal projects. So how do you get those projects? So the
Yeah.
first thing is, if you are starting with it, just tell your network, tell everyone. There's no shame in asking for referrals or anything. Just go to your people. If I have to start today with freelancing, I'll just come to you and ask you to refer me to somebody if
Right.
they need me. So
Right.
just go to your network. Tell them that you are starting with something, and tell them that yes, you can work on this is your skill set. So your initial clients will it's better to find because it will be pretty easy to find the initial clients from your network than to go on places like Upwork or freelancer.com or Fiverr, because
Right.
at this point of time those places are like highly competitive. And
Of
the
course.
most
Of
important
course.
thing in freelancing is trust building. So if you do quality work, you build good trust in your network, then there will be a point in a point like maybe in the next 3 months or after first 6 months, that you'll automatically get referrals. Like the people you work for will refer you to more people, and you won't have to spend any energy on fetching clients, because everybody will be reaching you. I have so many friends like that, like they have such strong networks, and they do quality work because of that. People trust them and they automatically refer them. So other than that, for your initial portfolios and stuff, considering that you are a undergraduate, make a simple website. Doesn't have to be really fancy, but just post your all the projects, deploy those projects and mention those projects in your portfolio. Then send that portfolio to people in your network, and then again, Upwork and Fiverr will be really competitive for you if you are just starting. But anyways, just go there, build a profile, write a good description, spend some time on it. Don't just copy paste stuff. Actually tell who you are and why you are doing this,
Right.
and that way build some trust in your network.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's awesome. In fact, there'll be one more thing I would want to ask you, and before that, I would like to tell the people who will be viewing this video that Naman has been working with us, help build a course on React as well. He's helping me with some content on the web development course as well, and in the last few years, I've seen you have gotten through internships and job interviews at Grofers, at Hacker Earth, at Postman, now at Product Hunt. Maybe I'm missing some as well. So in general, like apart from remote working and apart from freelancing and working from home, in general, like a tips for people. I think we had a interview sitting together some time back. It's also on our channel, but I think you might have some new things to share as well. So people who are learning web development, any words for them, like what kind of things they should focus on, and how they should go about, what they should learn, what kind of things they should build to become a good web developer, and bag some great offers from product companies like you have done.
Yeah, definitely. If you are your goal is to be a good web developer, don't sit there. Just build some projects. Start with building some projects, because you won't learn anything sitting at your home or not doing anything. Try building your projects. Work with other people who are actually building products which are in the market. Try to do internships. If you are a fresher, try to work at a startup, so that, because Arnav, you already said that like in the last 2 years, all my learning have been through working at places. Like if I
Right.
have not been working at places, I cannot imagine if I'll learn something. So if you want to be a web developer, start with the basic HTML, JavaScript, then grow yourself into learning some initially small framework, maybe a library like Vue or React, and build some projects, build anything. It doesn't have to be unique. But don't just keep those projects to yourself. Deploy those projects, share
Right.
them to your friends, get some feedbacks. Then based on those projects, do some internships. And because when you work on large scale projects, you get to know about how the industry functions, and how a real large scale applications are written. They are how to build resilient systems. Because technically, if you unless you are building a rocket, everything is possible. Technically, you can code. It
Right.
is easy. Over the time,
Exactly.
you'll
Exactly.
learn it. But the problem will come when building a application in a team of two people is easy. But if you are in a team of 200 people, there are a lot of things you will have to consider at the engineering level also. So yes, start with small projects, get to building some full stack application. Then not don't keep your knowledge about some specific library or specific language, but try to grasp the concepts, the basic concepts of computer networks, the operating system, and how the web works. And try to learn all those basic concepts, because you'll work on different technologies, you'll go to different companies. Technology will keep on changing, but those basic concepts won't. So
Right.
try I would say, the most important thing is not to learn React or Vue, but to learn the basics. Because I've worked on with different teams on a really n number of projects, and they all were using different technologies. Even at Product Hunt, our backend is on Ruby on Rails, and this is my first Ruby on Rails project. Before the interview or anything, I have never worked on Ruby on Rails. But
Right.
now I'm really able to function very swiftly and smoothly, only because my basic concepts are strong, and I have worked with other languages. So I didn't face any challenge in onboarding myself to Ruby on Rails.
Right. So thank you so much for answering these questions. Hopefully, the people who are going to be viewing it, it will be very helpful for them. I would drop a link to your GitHub and your Twitter profiles on the description of this video once this goes out. And all of you guys, if you want to get in touch with Naman, have anything else to ask, I will drop down his social links there. And once again, thank you for not just this video, for being associated with Coding Blocks also for all this while. And hope that React course also comes out very soon, and people who want to learn React they would have something. So okay then, have a nice day, Naman.
Sure. Thanks for hosting me.